Other developing news this Monday morning, Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi will give an update on Dr Nandipha Magudumana's attempts to declare her arrest in Tanzania unlawful. Magudumana filed an urgent application in the Bloemfontein High Court to have her subsequent deportation to South Africa made null and void. She was nabbed alongside convicted rapist and murderer Thabo Bester in Arusha in Tanzania last month. The pair fled South Africa following news that Bester escaped from the Mangaung Correctional Centre in May last year. Magudumana faces numerous charges, including assisting the escape of an inmate from custody and defeating the ends of justice. As you will know by now, Mnisi is tracking the story. He joins us in studio for a sense of this latest development. Great to see you, Linda. Thanks for coming in. So what is Nandipha Magudumana saying?
So basically what she's trying to do here, you'll remember that she's been postponing her bail application, saying that there's new critical evidence that has emerged and they want to really ventilate and look at what it is and how they can go about it and take instructions from Dr Nandipha Magudumana herself. So it seems behind the scenes, this is what they were working on, the application to have her arrest declared null and void and essentially unlawful. You'll remember just last month, there were courts in Tanzania. We were told how they were 10 kilometers away from the border going into another country. So this application, she wants that arrest to be declared null and void. And if it is declared null and void, then she subsequently is going to be taken out of this case. You'll remember she's listed as accused number 4. So if her arrest is null and void, she also wants the court to declare that her being joined into this matter as accused number 5 is really unlawful. Therefore, she should be discharged, essentially saying, I have nothing to do with this particular case. My arrest was null and void. And it's all contained, of course, in that affidavit, which, of course, will be discussed in the Bloemfontein High Court.
So what are legal experts saying here, Linda, about the chances of an application like that? Because on the face of it, she was in another country with a convicted rapist and murderer, having fled South Africa. She was in the possession of a number of passports. So on the face of it, this looks frivolous. But is it?
Well, you ask about legal analysts and what they're saying. There's been a lot of different views around, you know, what this application is. Some of them even saying that, well, it's going to be unsuccessful. But others also looking into perhaps the Tanzanian laws and what they say about deportation. If she was deported or was found in a country where she had not committed a crime, shouldn't she then have been deported into South Africa where she would get here and be arrested? But you'll also remember there's the issue around the red notice that we were told about that the ministers had issued, which would then, you know, kick in certain laws that would allow, of course, for a different country to arrest her. So it looks like, you know, this matter will really be about technicality and the laws that govern the deportation that we saw and how it was effected. So all of that, of course, will be revealed at the Bloemfontein High Court when this matter sits.
So it'll come down to whether the police, whether law enforcement agencies dotted all of those I's, crossed all of those T's.
And it's quite interesting, Michelle, because if you ask the Tanzanian authorities, or at least the Tanzanian police, around what happened and the circumstances, they've been really mum, you know, around what has happened, which then, if you look at this application, it makes us wonder what could have happened in Tanzania. How did things happen? How did they even get to be arrested? There were reports around how this thing happened. The police minister even went as far as saying that this was the success of the police, who had at some point lost track of them and subsequently managed to track where they are and called the police, the Tanzanian police, to assist them in the arrest. She speaks about an abduction because you'll also remember there were reports around, you know, the authorities who were in Tanzania at the time questioning whether they should take them, abduct them, or you know, just call in the police. And what we're told is that they called the Tanzanian police to assist in arresting them. So Dr Nandipha Magudumana now saying, I was abducted, and therefore this arrest should be declared null and void, essentially unlawful. So in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, she will explain exactly what she means by the fact that she says she was abducted. How did it happen?
In fact, we're speaking to a criminal law expert. Ian Alice will join us in the 8 o'clock hour, which we are in now, around 8:30. We'll get some perspective on exactly what you're saying, Linda. When does this angle of the case, is it heard in the High Court in Bloemfontein?
It will be heard this week on Wednesday. You'll remember it's an urgent application. So one of the first few hurdles that they will have to jump in order for the court to hear this matter is the urgency. Yeah. What is the urgency? But also, you'll remember that she is in custody, and therefore maybe perhaps they'll be arguing that her incarceration is really prejudicing her in terms of her business, in terms of her relationship with other people, and the fact that she's now in the media as having had a hand in assisting Thabo Bester to escape. That, is one of the things that perhaps will be argued when she gets to the High Court. So
convincing the court of the urgent nature of her application. Linda Mnisi, thanks very much indeed for coming on. The drama in the Thabo Bester saga continues, and Linda has his finger on the pulse with all of these latest developments.